this is take 2 of building one of the warp engines here. I ran into some problems with it because if I was building the standard version of this engine, it would have been much easier. I would have had a couple little issues with the pins. It's kind of a fiddly piece in here, and I did run into some problems, and it ended up taking me over half an hour just to do this little engine. And so I thought I'd figure out what I did wrong and then do it here and show you guys what I did to get it to fit. And it was quite a bit of work, unfortunately. So first thing you have to do is there's a little tab right here, and you have to remove it. Or think what they did in the instructions, because they just write it down, and I missed reading that. And I think what they did, I'm pretty sure that these are the exact same as the original instructions. So instructions in this kit are kind of funny, so I'm just gonna break this off like that. And I'm gonna skip that song. This is a boring one here. So I just gotta clean this out a bit more. And so what you have to do is, trim this out. Like that. That's that little tab right there. And then this piece is supposed to fit in like so. But I had problems. I had problems with the other one. This one actually, I'm kind of mad now, actually. Gonna need an edge here. Just drop them on the floor. Who cares? That happens to me more than you'd think, actually. Okay, let's try this again. Come on. The problem with the peg on the back of the engine is really stupid. I'm going to say that because this one's a peg. This is half a peg. You know, it looks like half a moon. Half a circle, I could say, if I was smart enough. And so it doesn't quite fit in properly. It kind of like pushes around it. So I'm just going to make this bigger. And they've done that with a couple of the parts already, and I don't understand why. Why? It's to get me going. Come on. For whatever reason, it does not want to fit. I think the hole is... Let me try it this way. Actually, you know what? That's unbelievable. It actually is in. But... whatever the powers that be are screwing with me. Super glue. Let's take a look. Okay. Just gotta clean off that needle. So I'm going to cheat. Technically it's not cheating, I guess, if I'm actually building it. Put that aside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put that in and put this in. And then what I'm going to do, because I did do this on the other ones, is put this clamp on here and there. So this is the outside one. Let me just make sure I got the right one here. Yeah. Okay. And that is glued in, and it fits way nicer than this one. This one I had to sand all of this piece in here to get it to fit. I had to sand down here, I had to sand up here. I have this rounded file I was using, and it was a lot of work. And yeah, I got lucky this time. My super glue cap here. Just gotta trim a bit of it off there at the top. There we go. Okay, that's better. Super glue is such a odd thing. You get it working for a long time and then it's like it just quits after a while. I don't understand it. At least it's not like expensive. Now, these are the clear parts, and the clear parts are molded very odd. They have these long pins on them. You have to cut those off, otherwise they're not going to fit in inside the model. It's just weird, the injector pins. And I gotta show you guys this. Do you remember I was talking about these 3 parts on here that are removed? They were old parts. And then there's this thing down here that I don't know what it is. I know what it is now. I was thinking about it last night and I figured it out. This is one of the display stand legs. It's one of these things from the old one. It fit in there just like that. It's ridiculous. I'm actually quite tickled to figure that out, so left a little bit of evidence there. So you got to clean these up, but they fit in nice and they clean up nice enough that they don't leave anything that you're really going to see, especially if you're lighting it up. I think you're still going to be, just fine. You do have to make sure though that you put them in right, because they look like they're the same, back and forth, but the center one here needs to be forward towards the ship more, because there are where are they? These rods here go into the engines. I actually need this piece here in a minute, but I'm not going to put those in until I'm done painting. So let's see if this will fit. Okay. So I'm going to glue this, and then I'm going to show you guys what I was working on. These are kind of trickier parts to get in. They do click in. They're just a little bit trickier, so I'm just using my file to push down on them. So I'm going to put these engines off to the side for a bit. So this is what I did. I super glued the clear parts down, like the deflector right here. I just put a little bit of glue kind of behind them, just to keep them down. The clear parts didn't really snap into place, like I was hoping. I was just hoping they kind of would. I wouldn't have to, super glue them. The thrusters in the back here, or impulse engines in the back, they did snap in. They're a little tricky to figure out how to get them in properly. And then the navigational thrusters, they didn't even, I had to glue them down, they wouldn't even have stayed in there. So there's just a little glue behind them in case they fogged up, and they did, but barely, and it didn't even reach the outside plastic. So like I put a little bit on here, and it's slightly fogged, but like I said, it didn't reach here or here, so those parts are safe. And for the piece down here, the one I covered in clear, didn't react the way I wanted it to. It didn't fog it up enough with the Polar Lights plastic. It did a little bit, so all I did is I painted it white on the inside, and it doesn't look like much, but it'll look better once it's painted the gunmetal color. So, and oh, the other thing I did discover here, I found an easy solution for the hull. Remember I told you about the neck? There's this nice gap in the neck here. All I'm going to do is take some styrene sheets, and I'm just going to cut out a little section, glue it on here in the exact same shape, and it should be enough to fill in the gap in there. I think it should fill that gap in perfectly, and I won't have to worry about that anymore. And that saves me from like using putty or something, because you can't really sand that without taking forever, because you got to work against the hull and the saucer, and that's just a lot of work. So watch out for that when you're building it. And I don't know if the problem with the warp engines is a problem with the kit or a problem with my kit. So you could just go buy it and you'd be like, hey, it fit perfectly, and you'd be like, there you go. So I gotta cut out these little bits here. These go in between the engines on top. They're kind of a funny piece, but they fit in nice. They go in right here on the back. The top one is a navigation light, but there's no clear part for it, and I'm not sure what the bottom half is supposed to be. But if you wanted to, if you're lighting it up, you can easily drill a hole in here in this little piece. It's hard for me to show it. Easily drill a hole in there, put in a clear piece of plastic, and you're good to go. Let's get this off here. So I'm gonna glue these two in okay. Oh, come on. There we go. And there we go. Okay, that's actually not fitting in there. Exact. New dog. Don't think you can hear that. Sounds like we got a new dog. And she's a puppy, sort of. And her previous owners uh, didn't know how to discipline the dog, and so they didn't train her up properly. And we get to play catch up. And so she doesn't understand what's good and bad because they never taught her. And it's a little frustrating. Okay. Oops. Don't press there. And come on. I don't know if I'm not trying to keep this in shot. So if it looks a little funny, I apologize in advance. So I'm just going to clamp this down here like that and leave it. I got to go look through the instructions and see what I've got to do next. I've got to do that part here with the with the neck. I can show you guys what I mean, what I'm going to do. So this is just a strip of styrene. I'm going to use this one instead. It's a lot smaller. This is really simple to do, guys. This is what I had in mind. Is to just cut off a little square like this. Put the glue down on here. And I'm just going to put it down here like this. And I'm keeping it square with this part in here. When you have the kit, you'll see what I mean. There's this little bit of a lip that goes down in here, and it covers some instruments on the kit. And I'm putting it just before that so then I don't accidentally destruct anything, you know. So then now I've got this, and I'm gonna, once it's glued and dried, I'm just gonna take my knife and cut around it. Like a cut around it, okay? Don't cut flush with the neck. And then take, you know, a file, and I'm gonna just sand it down and see how it is after that. I think I could test it actually and see how it fits. Aha! It's actually a little bit too thick, if you can believe it. So that's perfect. Which means then, if it's a little bit too thick, you know, I sand it down, get the shape, the circular shape of it, and then sand down on it, and then I'll get that exact thickness. So that's really cool. So I gotta let that dry. This one engine was tricky to do, the other one was not tricky to do. I don't know if you'll run into the same problems, but I can't quite do anything else on the kit for a little while, you know, until I'm done. So next video will be me assembling it, and after that after that it's time to paint it. So this kit's going along pretty quick. It should, it's a snap kit. Anyways guys, I'll see you in the next video.